Is the global chip shortage really affecting our industry? Hey everybody, welcome back to the vlog. Thank you so much for once again joining me for tea time. Today we have a little bit of Misty Morning and Focus combination. So good, so good. I hope you're joining me with your cup of tea, cup of coffee, maybe something harder. Today we're going to be talking about chips. Lots of chips. Not the chips in a bag, but the chips. That's all we hear about. Global chip shortage this, global chip shortage that. We know that there is a global chip shortage. And if you don't, you've been under a rock for the last half a year or longer. Today, we'll be talking about how this global chip shortage has affected our industry and by how much. And I think you might be a little bit surprised by this. I did a little bit of research and I don't know. I'm going to let you be the judge. So let me start out with some statements from different manufacturers, different companies. We'll start out with Panasonic. But before we do, I want to say that if you haven't downloaded any of my ebooks as of yet, go check them out. Go over to JCristina.com/books. Once again, JCristina.com/books. You'll be able to get 10 tips to making tack-sharp images. You'll be able to get the prologue to this book right here that I just wrote, How to Create a Digital Fort Knox, Backing Up Your Digital Life. Go check them out. They are free, just for being here. So let's get right into it. Let's start out with Panasonic. The imaging industry is currently facing a number of global challenges that are affecting all camera manufacturers, and Panasonic is not immune to these. We continue to do our best to meet the demands of our customers and are excited to show our latest updates in the spring of 2022. So that's kind of like upbeat. Yeah, we know that there is a chip shortage. It's affecting us just like everyone else, but we're excited to kind of go forward into spring of 2022. So what I did with all manufacturers that we talk about now, I went to B&H Photo and Video, and I took a look at which items they have available and which items were on back order, just to get like a barometer of what is going on with each company. Is there a lot on back order? Is there a little? Which products can you buy and which products you just simply can't? So when I went over there to take a look at Panasonic's products, what we have is the Panasonic S5 is available. The Panasonic S1 is available. The S1H is available. The S1R is a special order, so you can kind of 50-50 that. And the GH5 II is available, as well as the GH5S is available. So all of those cameras are available as of right now, regardless of this global chip shortage or not, at B&H Photo and Video. Now, to move on to Leica, they say something a little bit different. Not as upbeat, but they give you a little bit more guidance. Leica's representative says, I would like to say that so far, our production and supply chain teams have done a great job in managing these turbulent times. As a medium-sized manufacturer, our pressure is different than faced by the larger mass manufacturers. We also do not have internal competition for components from other product divisions, so we can focus solely on one core range. That's interesting. It's almost like a dig to like Canon or Sony that has so many different things, so many different irons in the fire. It's hard to figure out where do you want to put your ICs? Where do you want to put your components? Very interesting. Leica with the dig. I like it. We have seen a many-fold increase in the price of components, but have largely managed to absorb these so far. Well, of course, because your cameras are so damn expensive. It's kind of easy to absorb. The outlook for the next 6 to 12 months is still challenging, and it is unlikely that we won't have moments when we are unable to meet customer demand. We will plan for these as far in advance as possible to avoid disappointment. So, well, yeah, they throw a dig into other manufacturers by saying, listen, we have these ICs available to us and we're basically streamlining them into our cameras and that's it. Whereas these other manufacturers are making games and whatever the hell else and printers and whatnot. So I like the dig. But one thing is telling here is that they said that in the next 6 to 12 months, it will continue to be challenging. What that means is Leica does not see things to become better in the next 6 to 12 months when it comes to the global chip shortage. So that is interesting. Now, when we take a look at Leica stock supply, just to see what's available and what's not, we see that the Leica Q2 is available, the SL2 is available, the M10R is available, and the only thing that's not available is the CL. that is back ordered over at B&H. Now, if we move on to Sigma, they have an interesting statement also. Sigma says, since last year, the supply of not only semiconductors, but also materials and components has been tightened due to the shortage of factories and the disruption of logistics caused by the COVID-19 lockdown in cities around the world, which is a problem common to all industries, not just cameras and interchangeable lenses. As for Sigma, despite the problems mentioned above, close cooperation with suppliers and our own efforts have resulted in no major impact on production, and we have been operating smoothly so far. However, the outlook for the supply of materials and parts have become increasingly uncertain since the beginning of 2022, and there is a possibility that our production will be affected in the future. Sigma will do its utmost to fulfill its supply responsibilities in order to avoid causing inconvenience to our customers. Now, I'm not going to get into all the Sigma lenses because there's a ton, but when I check them out, most of the Sigma lenses are available from multiple locations. So that's kind of good. And like they're saying, yes, we're able to produce these without a problem. But what they're saying is going into 2022, there's a little bit more uncertainty for them in comparison to 2021. So we'll see what ends up happening with Sigma. Now, when we move into Canon, of course, this is one of the big names, right? They've been having problems right across the board with the chips, but they've had a little bit deeper problem when it comes to chips and their printers. Now, there was an article that came out, I think it was about a month ago or so, where their DRM, or their digital rights management chips that were inside of like 19 of their printers were not installed into those printer cartridges due to the global chip shortage. So since those DRM chips were not in those cartridges, all of a sudden the customers that bought these cartridges and installed them were getting these counterfeit messages saying that, oh, this is not a genuine Canon cartridge, or this is not an authorized Canon cartridge, even though it actually was. Why? Once again, there was no DRM chip installed into those cartridges. Kind of stupid on Canon's part. Why would you even put them out in the market? All right, if you don't have those chips inside of your cartridges and you know they're going to pull up as being counterfeit. I just think it's stupid. Now, Canon's response to all that was, the role the chip plays in the toner cartridge is to communicate information. This includes toner level and to confirm that the toner is a genuine Canon product. Canon doesn't want you to use any third-party cartridges. They've been doing this nefarious, I would almost say, method of sales when it comes to printers. They would sell you a printer for a very low cost, and then they would screw you with this obnoxious printer ink pricing right across the board, and they would make you buy their ink, right? Or the third parties would come up as counterfeit, and you wouldn't be able to use them. There has been companies that have gotten around this, the DRM and whatnot. But if you were to buy a legitimate cartridge from Canon, you're going to pay a hell of a ton, like triple the amount for the exact same amount of ink. So they've been doing this for a long time, and I guess finally it blew up in their face. Not being able to put those DRM chips in there has made it so that Canon cannot figure out which ones are counterfeit and which ones are not, and they're having to tell their clients, the customers, how to circumvent that message and use their printer. Now, if you guys didn't know, back in, I think it was October or November of last year, Canon was sued for something similar. What they did is they have the majority of their multifunction units, right? Printers, which were scanners and fax machines and whatnot. They made them all fail. So if you ran out of ink on any of those systems, the machine itself would just shut off. It would fail. You wouldn't be able to use it anymore. And the lawsuit basically was saying, hey, we don't want to print anything with it. It's a multifunction device. We just want to scan with it, or we just want to fax with it. By them turning it off, that's illegal. And Canon ended up losing that, and rightfully so. So, you know, a lot of these big manufacturers, they do some things, and this is one of them. Now, when we take a look at stock supply when it comes to Canon to see how they fare in comparison to the rest, they're not doing bad. The Canon R is available. The Canon RP is available. The Canon R6 is available. The Canon M50 Mark II is available. The Canon M6 Mark II is available. The Canon R3 is also available. The only camera that is not available is the Canon R5. That is back-ordered as of now. Now, moving into Sony, they've been having a very hard time when it comes to the global chip shortage, and the reason being is what Leica alluded to. Basically, Sony is doing a lot of different things. They have a lot of irons in the fire. They have to figure out if they're going to create a PS4, a PS5, or they're going to create a A7. Whatever the case is, where are they going to put those chips? Well, this is what's been going on. Last year, we saw that the A7 II was discontinued, the A6400 discontinued, the A6100 discontinued, a bunch of camcorders discontinued, shotgun mics discontinued, and then they suspended the production of the Alpha A7C as well as the 6600. But when we take a look at what's available and what's not available, now that they've kind of streamlined and focused in on a certain number of cameras instead of so many, by discontinuing so many of them as well as suspending them, we see that it's not too bad. Now, if you go over to B&H, you can right now pick up, it is available, the A7 III, the older version, as well as an A7 IV you can pick up. Also, the A7 IVA is available, the A1 is available, the A9 is available. The only camera that is not available, that is on back order, is the A7S III. That's really not bad. That is a lot of cameras available, once again, in this global chip shortage. So let's get into Nikon. How are they doing, or how are they faring in comparison to the rest of the manufacturers? Now, you guys remember that last year, towards the end of last year, Nikon stopped giving any cables, charging cables, in any of their camera boxes. So if you got one of their cameras, well, you need to pick up a cable to be able to charge it or charge the batteries. Why? Because Nikon wasn't giving you one. Their reasoning behind it was the global chip shortage. This was an issue. Some people complained, but it kind of was what it was. Now, moving into their flagship, their Z9. Their Z9 was also pushed back due to the global chip shortage, but finally was introduced. Now, if we take a look at the stock report, what do we have available as of this moment? We can see that you can pick up today a Nikon ZFC and a Z5. That is what you can buy from B&H. Nothing else, pretty much. If we take a look at the Z7 Mark II, back ordered. If we look at the Nikon Z6 Mark II, back ordered. The Z50, back ordered. The Z9, back ordered. So as we can see, Nikon is having a harder time here. We saw that Sony kind of just cut all the fat and focused in on these X, Y, and Z cameras, and they are available. Whereas Nikon has not, and there's only a Z5 and ZFC available. That is it. So once again, if you want a Z6, if you want a Z7, if you want a Z50, if you want the Z9, you just can't get them. That is it. How do you make money when there's nothing to sell? So it just seems like they are being affected even worse than the other manufacturers for the exact same global chip shortage. Why that is, I really don't know. Maybe one of you guys have the insider track on that. I would like to know. More importantly, I want to know what you think about all of these numbers and what is going on. What are your thoughts about this global chip shortage and how it is affecting, or kind of not really affecting, our market? Does this information confirm your thoughts, or does this video kind of get you thinking about this global chip shortage in a different way? Are you surprised by these numbers? Are you surprised by my findings? I certainly was. When I went into B&H and started typing in all of these cameras, my thoughts, guys, was, you know what? I'm going to find nothing. There's going to be nothing available, because normally you and I are not going onto these retail websites and looking for products that we don't want or are looking to purchase. So to do this was very informative to me. It gives me a little bit of a pause, and I am now thinking that the global chip shortage, while it is a big thing, and silicon not being available everywhere, I think that the manufacturers as of today have enough supply either already created to be able to sell their cameras to us, number one, or there's just enough chips available for them to create these cameras. What the answer is, I don't know. Now, when it comes to companies like Sony that are making the PS4 and the PS5 and all of these cameras and all the rest of this tech, they're probably having a really hard time to determine or to discern what they want to use these chips for. Are we going to use it for cameras? Are we going to use it for a PS5? Are we going to use it for whatever? I think that they're going to have to make some real hard decisions on what to cut back on even more. As we see, there was a ton of Sony product that was cut back. The A7 Mark II, the A6400, the 6600, the 6100, shotgun mics, all kinds of stuff, all trimmed. That fat was trimmed off. Why? So they can produce the A7 III, the A7 IV, the A7 IVA, the A1, the A9s. The only camera from Sony that's missing is the A7S III. So that I think is very interesting. I want to know your thoughts on it. So if you gotten any kind of value from this video, please throw it a thumbs up. That would be very helpful. Also subscribe to the channel. If you're not subscribed, why the hell not? Just subscribe. I've got probably 600-700 videos on here, a lot of good stuff. Subscribe to the channel and then click this little bell icon over here. So when I go live or when a new video comes out, you will be notified of it immediately. And finally, head over to my website, JCristina.com, where you can find all the photography tools that I've invented for you and me over the years. And hopefully there's something there that you might like. And if there is, please pick it up and support me and my family. That's it. I'm out of here for another vlog. Many blessings to you and your family. Stay safe, stay healthy. Love you guys. We'll see you in the next one.